On YouTube. So today I'm going to be talking about my top 10 college football, just projected top 10 for next season. Um, the reason that I'm not going to do the top 25 is just because I feel like I start guessing past number 10. I do have a pretty solid projection for top 10 next year, but after that, just kind of start guessing. That being said, there is something I do want to kind of talk to you guys about, just a little bit more serious, is the coronavirus, the COVID-19 epidemic that we're in right now. It is going to affect college football in an interesting way. So I think since there's no spring ball being played, there's no spring practices. There's also a recruiting dead period, but Ohio State's going off during, getting five-star running backs and stuff. But with that being said, since there isn't any spring, training going on, they're going to be a little rusty at the beginning of the season. I think everyone's not going to be playing well. And so there could be a chance for some upsets. There's plenty of big games going on in those first couple months in September. I think like the beginning of September is going to be an interesting interesting month. So that being said, you know, everyone's gonna have to lean on experience. People have been here, people have played the game, played at college football level. I think that's gonna be a big part of those first couple months is who's been on in the system, who's more experienced. With that being said, number one, I'm of course gonna start at number one because I feel like it gets more interesting towards the bottom, towards the number 10 pick. So we're gonna start at number one, which is Clemson. Obviously, they have Trevor Lawrence returning, possibly a favorite for a Heisman, possibly a Heisman contender. They got their running backs back. They also got some really great wide receivers coming back. I think they have to reload on defense, but they have a number one class to do that with. They also got Brett Venables, one of the best DCs in the game. I think they'll be able to do all that. At number two, Ohio State. Ohio State's really good this year, just with Justin Fields. They get my boy Trey Sermon. Sermon actually went to Sprayberry, which is up the road from where I lived, and he played at Oklahoma. So shout out to Sermon. Shout out to Sermon. But yeah, I hope he does well over there. I think he will. Um, so they have him, and they also got their leading wide receivers back. Um, on the flip side of the ball, they do lose Chase Young, but Ohio State's known for defensive linemen. I think they'll be all right with DLs over there. So moving right on along, we got Georgia, number three spot. I think they can be an interesting team to come out of SEC this year. I think the SEC will be very interesting this year. It's kind of open. The two favorites obviously being Georgia and Alabama, with LSU being kind of like a wild card. So I think with Georgia, they do lose a good bit of offensive line. They use Jake Fromm. That can be replaced with Jamie Newman, but the O line will be more interesting. They always get big bodies here in Georgia, so we'll see what they can do with them. That defense is stacked, though. So the defense is gonna be really good. That'll help him out. You only have to score so much in the SEC. Moving along, we got Oregon, which is I think going to be an interesting team. So they can get there. I think that's kind of more my. It's going to be between Oregon and Alabama. Who gets that fourth spot? I think at the end of the season, it depends on who Alabama loses to. But that's just a prediction of mine. I think Oregon gets in. Oregon will have four new starting linemen. They do have one of the best linemen in all of the country. I think he's going to be an early first rounder. But they also are getting a new offense coordinator. So with all that, a new quarterback. So they do have some troubles on offense, but they have C.J. Verdell coming back at running back. So he'll be great. They also have a pretty good defense. Most of their weapons at wide receiver are going to be coming back. So if they can fix the O-line and the quarterback before, they get into tough games, they'll be fine. Next, we got, of course, Alabama. I think they're coming in at 5 spots outside looking in the playoffs. Well, with the playoffs, I think it can go, anyone's way. Obviously, I think Clemson can beat Oregon, but outside of that, that top three, I feel like the top three every year. I'm gonna be serious for a second. Top three every year is so much better than the 4 spot. But like I said, Bama, they're getting a new quarterback. They do play Georgia pretty early, September 19th, the day before my birthday. But That game's gonna be a test for everyone. Georgia plays Virginia to start out the season in the bin, so it's they have a tough schedule early on. As well as Alabama does have to play Georgia, so it kind of strengthens their schedule. Whereas years past, they kind of cruised along until the end of the season where they played LSU. All right, but Bama will come in with a chip on their shoulder, I feel like, and possibly get into the playoffs just with that chip and Nick Saban being the man he is. Next, we got Oklahoma. So Oklahoma plays Tennessee and Army back-to-back games, and that's at Army in New York. So I feel like we can get tested. The sad thing about my Sooners is our offensive line is a bit up in the air right now, and I don't like the idea of that with a new quarterback. I think Creed Humphrey's gonna have to take over. Spence is a new quarterback. He's sat for a year, but that being said, he's a gunslinger. He's gonna throw the ball. With that, there's gonna be a bunch of interceptions. So I think the defense has to get more turnovers this year. They have to be more improved, and they made a great jump last year. I'll give them that, but they have to continue to get better. They lost some talent. Definitely at linebacker. They're gonna have to replace the linebacker and Kenneth Murray, and on the D line as well. So I'll just be interested to see what we're like. I honestly don't think we're making it to the playoffs this year. Next, we got LSU, and they meet my number 8 seed Texas on September 12th. Another early in the season game. LSU had a great season last year. They got the Biletnikoff wide receiver coming back, and Jamar Chase. That being said, they're getting a new quarterback. It's gonna be really hard to replace Joe Burrow, as well as Joe Brady. So they lost a bunch of talent on defense, but they just reload over there on defense. They do have who I believe is the best cornerback in all of the country in Stingley. I think he could go number 1 if we didn't have Trevor Lawrence in that class, or I'm sorry, in the next class. But yeah, LSU, they can make it back, but it some things would have to happen. And then that brings me to number 8, Texas, which number 8 I feel like for Texas would be a great year. They could play somebody, but I low key feel like they could beat LSU whenever they meet in September. Just because they do have the experience, and since we're not having very much time to prepare, during the spring, Texas come in there and upset LSU. They're returning Sam Ehlinger. They have most of their defense returning, most of their offense returning. Like, it was some great wide receivers, but that's about it. And they do have 5 stars to back them up. Bro and McCoy can finally play, so which he transferred to USC. I don't know why I said that. And then we got Florida at number 9. So Florida is very interesting. I feel like they're a pretty good team. They have a great defense. They have a good young quarterback. The only thing that's really holding them back is if they lose one, they're kind of done. Their schedule is very weak outside of Georgia, so they do have to win all their games, I feel like, to make it into the playoffs. And then at number 10, we got the Oklahoma State Cowboys. So Oklahoma State's very interesting this year. They have a great quarterback. They have a great running back in Chuba. They also have a good wide receiver in Tylan Wallace, but their defense is a little sketch on the line. They have pretty good safeties. Their defensive backs aren't bad, but they ain't anything great. So I think they can make some noise in the Big 12. The way I see it shaking out is Texas beating Oklahoma in the Cotton Bowl, and then Oklahoma winning everything out from there, beating Texas in the Big 12 championship because Texas beat Oklahoma State. That's kind of how I see it going. But if you guys want to kind of let me know where you think your head would be around the top 10, who do you think is getting in, who do you think is getting out, thoughts on mine, go ahead and comment that in the C section. Let me know. Go ahead and give me a like. And if you're new to the channel, I'm going to be posting stuff like this daily. So if you want to go ahead and hit that subscribe button, I would really appreciate it. Peace.